Remember POGS? Oh man! This is strictly for the 90s. What's up, peeps, freaks, and geeks? It's RantNRavinFection. And this one's gonna be about POGS. Y'all remember POGS. P-O-G-Z. POGS were basically small little caps. It was a fad. It was a phenomenon. Very akin to, well, first of all, it was geeky. It was really suited for people who were into trading cards or something along that line. You know, people who were into like small collectible things. That POGS was essentially a series of little tiny caps, plastic or paper caps, and they were actually based on a game from Hawaii. It originated back in Hawaii in like the early 1900s, or I don't even know, but a very long time ago. What they did was they took milk caps. So essentially they were the caps of, back then they had bottled milk, and the caps, they would take it off and then they would play like a coin game or something. It's kind of like a flip game where they would stack the milk caps on top of each other, and then they would take a slammer, which is, I guess back then they used the milk, the actual cap of the milk, the actual metallic cap or something, and then they would hit it, the stack of milk caps, which are made out of like paper or whatever, or cardboard or something, very thin cardboard, or something like that, and then they would flip it over. And whoever gets to flip over the milk caps, it's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, you know, they kind of remade this game into this POGS phenomenon, where essentially they made these tiny little caps. They were basically the shape of a circle, flat little caps that were made out of like paper, cardboard-esque kind of paper. And it had two sides. One side was like either blank white or kind of just a logo, like sort of a trademark logo in the back. And the front side is a colorful, usually very colorful design. And what they did was you had to stack it up, kind of like a rack, you know, on top of each other. So it's kind of like a tower of these caps. And you take a slammer. A slammer is a plastic POG, basically, a plastic, or it could be made out of metal. Some were made out of metal, and it was a hard, kind of a thicker POG, and then you slammed it on top of the milk caps, or the POGs themselves, the paper POGs, and then they would flip over, and whichever ones had were upside down, showing the blank side or the logo side, a person got to keep, an individual got to keep them. At least that's how it is when I played it back in Philippines, because POGS was so huge all around the world that, of course, it reached, you know, the entire planet, and of course in the Philippines it became huge there too. It was essentially just a fad, you know, it just came and went. You know, 1 year, I think it was 90, now was it 94 or 95? Anywhere between 94 and 95, it was huge. It was just extremely popular. Everybody was, you know, POGS, this and that, and you could see kids on the street playing POGS, and POGS being sold in the stores, and just a huge phenomenon. And after like, I don't know, maybe 11 months, you know, less than a year, it was already kind of just, it just died, you know, it just wasn't, you know, the fad was over. And so it didn't have a lot of longevity, you know, it just came and went. You know, next thing you know, nobody was into POGS anymore, and they're basically old news. They're gone, you know what I'm saying? But I still have POGS. No, actually, I threw away my POGS just a couple of nights ago because, I mean, I remember, it was in, a bunch of them were in my closet. I almost said locker. It was in my closet, and there were just a bunch of them just stacked, you know, just, holy crap. I gotta get rid of these things. So I just ended up throwing them away, you know. And I was like, wow, what am I keeping these POGs for? You know, I've had them for so much. I kept some of them. I kept the ones that were my favorite, like the ones that I actually thought was kind of cool. Like I had a series of Simpsons POGs. I thought that was cool. It had like Simpsons characters, Jurassic Park POGs, Power Ranger POGs. I kept those. and a bunch of other ones, and a couple of really cool slammers. I had a couple of good slammers that were made in Guam, and they were really high quality. You know, the plastic was so, it was so durable, and it was so, like you could slam it again and again. It lasted for such a long time. I still have them. You know, of course they're a little bit indented now, and they're kind of, you know, you could see marks on them a little bit, but they weren't chipped or anything. You know, they don't chip. That's what I love about them. They just kind of, you know, if you hit them against the floor, they kind of get indented in, you know what I mean? But they do not chip. Those ones that chip are so cheap and crappy. Those like plastic slammers are just so terrible. But anyway, that's my rant about POGs. Do you guys still have POGs? You know what I'm saying? If you're from the 90s, like I'm saying, you're gonna understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you ever had POGs, share me your story, share me what you think of POGs. Do you still have them? Do you still keep them? Or if you don't have them anymore, what did you do to them? Did you throw them away? Did you sell them? So there you go. RantNRavinFection. Peace.